Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nuggets News. Tonight's episode's going to be about the proposed upgrades coming to the Bitcoin network, known as a fork, and how that's going to affect you if you're holding Bitcoin, particularly for you guys that are just new and getting into this. This one's going to be really important to know. So, basically, as Bitcoin's gained popularity and we're starting to see mass adoption now, the network's having scalability issues, and it's really congested, slow to send transactions, and transactions that used to cost only a few cents are now costing a few dollars in some instances, and that's obviously not ideal, especially now we've got plenty of competing currencies. Okay, it hasn't stopped the Bitcoin price from going up, as it's obviously still the one that most people know about, and it's still popular if you're sending large sums of money from country to country. A few dollars is still cheaper than using banks, but it is going to be an issue moving forward, and something that they want to solve in the next month or two. So really, really important stuff. Basically, there's two teams of developers that both want to see Bitcoin succeed. They both believe that their plan is the best way to make Bitcoin faster and resolve these scalability issues. But they both have different ways of going about it. Okay, so Bitcoin Core is the first one. A lot of these guys are US based developers. What they're proposing, you might have seen called a UASF, or a user activated soft fork, or SegWit as they're calling it. So they're basically proposing that the Bitcoin network run side chains or a Lightning network, similar to what I've touched on in the last video about Ethereum talking about in their next upgrade as well. Okay, so what this does is it allows you to run network or channels to the side of the main network and then link back up and sync with the network. Okay, so this will make things faster, but what it does is it takes a lot of power away from the miners. They're the supercomputers that keep the Bitcoin network up and running, and those miners get paid for making sure the transactions go safely from A to B. Okay, so the other group are known as Bitcoin Unlimited. That's basically the guys with more mining interests at stake, but I don't want to be seen to be ripping on the miners. Like I said, they're a really important part of the network as well, and they're proposing um, a hard fork, which is, I guess, a more radical change. But don't get me wrong, both of these types of forks are radical, and Bitcoin's had a few minor upgrades in the past, but what they're proposing is really going to change things up the most we've ever seen. Okay, so what they're proposing is to increase the block size. So a block is what the miners mine. At the moment, there's a megabyte limit. Okay, and what they're proposing is to basically increase that block size so you can fit more information in each block. And they're proposing to do this via the hard fork. So I guess a good example and one way to get your head around this is to use Ethereum as the example, as they've already gone through this process, okay, and they've done a hard fork, and out of that actually came two coins, and this is a possibility for Bitcoin as well. Okay, you might see BTC and a BTU, so basically two Bitcoins. So what happened with Ethereum after they did the hard fork? A lot of people just thought that the main Ethereum chain would go on, and the other chain would die, as none of the miners would mine that one. But what we saw was a few miners actually kept mining it, and it actually survived. So what happened here was, if you owned Ethereum, a few exchanges had the facilities in place so that you actually had ETH and ETC show up in your account. And a lot of new users were saying, how can this be? This is too good to be true. You know, I'm getting two coins and I only own one. But what you actually saw was, just for the sake of using round numbers here, Ethereum might have been $13 that day, and then the Ethereum went to $10, and the ETC picks up that other $3. Okay, so you do get two coins, but you don't get double your value. Okay, that value, that market cap of Bitcoin is going to be split, and depending on what percentage of miners start mining the two different chains, okay, the Bitcoin Core and the Bitcoin Unlimited. Let's say Bitcoin's $3,000 at the time, and they both go 50-50, the miners on the network. In that case, you'd get two Bitcoins, maybe called BTC and BTU, as I just said, and they're both going to be worth $1,500. Now that's assuming that everything else remains the same. Okay, what I think is going to happen is a lot of new guys are going to panic, and people that don't understand what's going on, there's going to be a big sell-off in Bitcoin, I believe, in the short term. Okay, so that could present a really good buying opportunity. But at the same time, a lot of guys are going to say, "Hey, I just want to avoid all this confusion," and they're probably likely to either put their money on the sidelines or put their money into these smaller coins that they like as well, just for the time being. So, like I said, don't be surprised. I think this is going to cause a big drop in price, but in the long run, if they can resolve these issues, both sets of the developers are going to be able to do what they think's best, and a lot of money then is going to flood into people that believe either the block size should be increased or that the Lightning Network should go ahead. Okay, so a bit messy. If you're on a certain exchange that doesn't split those for you, okay, there was programs that came out called splitters, where you'd send your Bitcoins to an address, and they'll split them into BTC and BTU for you, okay? But again, all this stuff gets really messy. And that probably leads to important difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum is that the mining difficulty, okay? It's faster to resolve with Ethereum than what it's going to be with Bitcoin. So let's say the Bitcoin splits, and all of a sudden we only have a minority, any number, let's just say 30% on Bitcoin Core, and 70% of the miners go to Bitcoin Unlimited. Now that they've only got 30% of the computing power that the entire network had, it's actually going to take a couple of weeks for them to mine blocks to keep the network going, and that's a real threat. That's not good for Bitcoin. Okay, that chain could die pretty quickly, and either that or it's going to take a lot of persistence from the guys that want to see that chain succeed to keep it going until everything rebalances, I guess. So again, I'm not trying to see to be seen as pumping one or the other. I'm pretty impartial. I hope I'm presenting the video that way because I just want to see whatever's best for Bitcoin in the long run ultimately. But this can get really messy with talk of splitters, two coins, the price going down. There's going to be confusion. So I guess I wanted to give you a few options on what to do. Either cash out back into dollars and sit on the sidelines until this is resolved, or maybe put your money into another coin if that's what you want to do. But hopefully I've explained that reasonably well for you guys that are new to the space. I just wanted to finish off by saying thanks to everyone that's subscribed and watching the videos. I only started the channel a week ago, and I've received heaps of support, and I think you guys are liking the content. So give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more of these videos, and have a good weekend. Thanks, guys.